We have to be careful about our shit because you've been doxxed. People can find where we're at.
That's scary to think about.
Yeah. I think this point has been made up before on the Delphi situation or any of these other murders. I think you made this point about it's dangerous. If you're out, motherfuckers, people can show up at your house and knock on the door.
Well, that was a few years ago into the Delphi investigation when the JP thing came up, and then somebody got pissed at you and made a video that you could be bridge guy.
Yeah,
and we didn't want the FBI knocking at our door.
No, I think somebody had made the point about when you're in the true crime community. And you're dealing with murderers. I don't know.
It was sleuth intuition.
And that you're not safe. Nobody is safe. They're killing little girls under a bridge.
Yeah.
You know, as well as, I can't think of any other crime. Oh, Rex Hooverman's going around just killing females all over the goddamn
And he was trolling us on the internet.
I mean, there's all kind of shit going down, and when you start,
I swear to God, I had a confrontation with him in a blog one time in a comment section.
Yeah, and I'm sure we rubbed elbows with a few people that have been, you know,
very sus.
Yeah, so you're not. Nobody is really safe. So I don't want to out nobody's stuff.
I understand.
You know, I would be careful. Yeah, about how I said it.
I think it was Sleuth Intuition who got doxxed at one point, and it was like, you know, hey, like maybe he wants to stay incognito because we're over here trying to catch killers.
Yeah, and yeah, I think you're right. And Sleuth is a smart guy, so he knows. You know,
well, he's got a family.
We have to be careful. Yeah, if they're Garrett Kirk said it best. If they're going around killing little girls, what won't they do?
Well, I want to talk about some of the points. Remember that day? It was November the 30th. Okay, like we were sitting in my house, and you were on a long rant. This is when, you know, the bullet came out about the bullet, and they arrested Richard Allen.
Yeah.
And you had said
something about magic bullet, and I was like, the magic bullet, because it wasn't in the Ron Logan. It wasn't even in the Ron Logan search warrant.
But you came up with a very excellent defense in a Discord.
Yeah, because I was just like, you know, this magic bullet that's fucking, you got random fucking clothes thrown all about. You got this random, that's random, but then the magic bullet is staged. Well, some things are staged. They're deciding what's staged and what's not. So all of a sudden this magic bullet shows up out of nowhere.
And you also like to use, because I love you, and me and you have talked true crime for years. So as soon as I heard that, it made me think of some of your lingo, like magical fairies, and just the way you get animated about it.
I think I know what you're talking about. When there's times when I'm like, oh, the magical fairies that fly from phones to phones and make sure you get text messages.
I know.
Oh yeah, every text messages goes through.
So when I heard magical bullet, I was just like, babe, are you in a like Discord? Like,
yeah,
but
and we talked about the Manson stuff and how everybody thinks he was convicted of murder and he never was.
Well, here's my fear, honey. I have this fear that the defense team, somebody in that Discord is communicating with the defense. We already know that, you know, through these documents, somebody in Georgia gave them the Odinist theory or whatever, but I just have this feeling that some of the defense has come from you, and it's in this Discord, and one day a smart sleuther is going to go back and be like, reading these documents like I did, and be like, some of this stuff sounds really familiar, and then I don't want it to come back on me.
Maybe they're watching my YouTube channel. But what else did there was, my other defenses has never gotten out, that's never made a big deal, was I made a big rant about, if you're a meth head, who would you have to know in Delphi to get pseudoephedrine to make your meth? You need a Smurf. Who's the biggest Smurf you could get?
The guy at the local CVS.
The pharmacy tech at the CVS. You know,
that was a solid point.
Whether or not he's involved or not, let's say you went to go get your pseudoephedrine, he's a Boy Scout motherfucker, and he's like, no, motherfucker, get the fuck out of my CVS, bitches. You know, and they're like, fuck you, motherfucker, look at you, and they framed him for murder. I'm just saying.
And that is not my theory. I think Richard Allen is the bridgiest bridge guy I've ever seen. I think he has some redhead fetish thing going on. I think he's scum. Fuck him. In my eyes, that's.
But he's
a true guy.
Okay, we know. I can tell you two facts about Delphi, about groups. Whether or not an Odinist or not, I don't know. You got KKKK. You got those motherfuckers. You got the 3K guys.
Yeah.
You know there's a group of them motherfuckers there. The other group you know is a group of meth heads. And Garrett Kurtz has proved that.
Yeah.
And I keep telling you over and over again, Garrett Kurtz said, they're going around killing little girls. Why am I going to tell you stuff? That what won't they do?
That's probably the truest statement Garrett's ever spoke.
Then we got the prostitute girl who talked about the group.
Let's not call her a prostitute girl.
Well, I know. I'm sorry. I don't know how. I don't remember her name. I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend her.
She's a sex worker.
Yeah, I don't mean to offend her or an escort. You know, and there's nothing bad about any of that. I'm just saying that's. I thank you for correcting me. But we know she talked about the group.
Yeah.
We've got Randy Houser, Houseman or whatever.
Jalen. The judge and Jalen.
Judge and Jalen. Yeah, that's the girl's name. Yes, thank you for. But yeah, she talked about the group. Then we got the Randy Houser motherfucker talked about the group. I can't remember anybody else who talked about a group. But there's a group. Either meth heads or Triple K guys or somebody. And whether or not they're Odinists, I don't know. But I know there's groups. I'm going to
talk on why I don't like the Discords, because I really do think the defense team is stealing the defense from this Discord. I mean, some of it is verbatim stuff that I've heard, and I had him go back in his Discord to find out the date that he started talking about magical bullets and Charles Manson and all that. It was November the 30th.
Yeah. Yeah, it was somewhere around November 30th. That's when they started getting the lawyers. I think that's right around the exact time that November 30th, 2022, is when they assigned Rossi and them to Richard Allen.
Yeah.
And what other things do it?
I just don't want a smart sleuther 10 years from now to deep dive this case and be like, oh, well, there's where the defense team came up with those documents.
Well, to me, it's like, it's common sense, really. You know, I want everybody to have their correct constitutional rights and not be railroaded over. And, if he's involved, he's involved. He's guilty. He needs to go to prison. Yeah. But I don't want the real motherfucker who's really going around killing little girls or being part of it to go free.
You want them, if he's the guilty one, you want to see the evidence. You want to see more proof than magical bullets.
Yeah, a lot of people do. There's a few people like me who are like, there's so far there's nothing here. So far there's nothing.
See, that's why I think the defense is taking, either somebody from that defense team is in that Discord, or the attorney himself is in there.
It really reminds me of Stephen Avery in Wisconsin in the Brandon Dassey situation. It reminds me of that situation.
See, I think he's actually, once I've seen the actual evidence and the stuff that was omitted from that documentary, I now do believe he's guilty. That's just me, but go ahead and speak on your...
But there's a lot of corruption in Carroll County and in Wisconsin. And I think that's part of the issue we're dealing with here is because once you drop one little tiny domino,
they
you
all
drop
fall.
a bunch more dominoes that don't want to be, and you're dealing with money.
And lots of crimes become uncovered.
Yeah.
And
I think Garrett Kurtz knows more than what he's saying, and not that he was involved, he may have been, but he may be part of the group too. But when you got meth heads running around, there's no telling. You know what I'm saying? But I think somebody needs to look more into what was going on at CBS, because if you do have a meth ring, and there is, we know there is, I mean, where are they getting pseudoephedrine from?
Right. See, let's talk a little bit about what was confusing people in this other Discord is how there's certain medications, even though they used to be over the counter, you have to sign for them. I want to say it was about 20 years ago when they took pseudoephedrine out of things like NyQuil, Alka-Seltzer Plus. Advil Cold and Sinus is one of the ones that didn't change their ingredient, and that's why you have to sign for that one.
That's here in Florida. I don't know about Indiana.
I think it's all the same, baby.
Yeah, you're on with some sort of list. They take your ID. You do something. Yeah,
like
to go
Primatene Mist. Certain things and it used to be over the counter, but now you have to sign for them.
Yeah, because when I had mentioned the thing about the pseudoephedrine in the group, somebody didn't understand what I was saying, and I think they thought I was talking about prescription drugs, like the ones you go get and you have to get a prescription for. And those are really, really higher controlled than the boxes of pseudoephedrine ingredients. Because if you go our Walmart, when you walk up there, it's right there on the counter. You can see it. It's eye level.
Yeah.
I looked back here and I seen where it's at. Because you have to sign for it. You can't just grab a box, go to the self checkout, boop boop, and go.
Right, right. Well, let's agree that like maybe some of us should be more careful of what we say in discords, because Richard Allen's defense attorneys, they don't need people helping them. Like, let them do their own job.
It's not only Discord, people are calling them. I mean, you said it's in that document.
Yeah.
And I know there have been some folks, I don't know who, but I know has been mentioned in numerous Discords that somebody was calling the lawyers. And I mean, and now that you said it came out in that document, oh, okay, now I'm more cautious about this.
And that when I started reading the documents on my channel, I was just doing it because it's hard to see, and some people, but as I'm reading, I'm starting to like hear your voice in my head of some of the exact things you've said, and it's making me a little nervous that somebody's going to track that to the Discord and be like, well, there's where the attorneys got their defense from.
Was Garrett Kurtz and Ashley Garth showed up at the CVS to get some pseudoephedrine, and he sent Ashley in to get it, and Richard Allen was working, and Richard Allen said, no, motherfuckers, you ain't getting no pseudoephedrine today, you done got your limit, get the fuck out of here. And so Garrett Kurtz gets mad because he goes off, he gets mad easy, he's got a short fuse.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck you, motherfucker, and framed Richard Allen for a murder. That's stretching shit. I'm gonna kill some bitches, and you're gonna go down for it. You know, but when you're doing meth head, they don't think normal either.
They don't.
I'm just saying that.
They've been up for days.
Now, and like my theory was part of that is like, let's say that the group, the Odinist, the meth head groups, or whatever, the cartels, they needed pseudoephedrine. Oh, Richard Allen wouldn't give it to them, you know, or he was and he stopped, or there's numerous other avenues you could go down.
To me, he led them to their death. He was involved 100%.
Like you said, he could have been forced to be there to do it. You know what I'm saying?
I could think that too. Like, you know, that's what happens when you have corruption and everybody's hands are a little bit dirty.
And we was talking about pseudoephedrine. Maybe he was showing up with the pseudoephedrine all in his jacket. That's what looks like a puppy.
Oh, God, the puppy theory. We've been through some wild theories on this thing, guys, but I just want people to try to be more cautious with what they give Richard Allen's defense team. Let Richard Allen come up with his own defense. You know, let the pieces fall where they're supposed to. You know, I mean, because. But this is all I'm gonna.
I will continue to rant no matter what.
Yeah, your rant made it in these documents, babe. Stop ranting places. This is why I don't like Discord. Peace and love, y'all.